Narcoterrorism is a term coined by former President Fernando Belaúnde of Peru in 1983 when describing terrorist-type attacks against his nation's anti-narcotics police. In its original context, narcoterrorism is understood to mean the attempts of narcotics traffickers to influence the policies of a government or a society through violence and intimidation, and to hinder the enforcement of anti-drug laws by the systematic threat or use of such violence. Pablo Escobar's violence in his dealings with the Colombian government is probably one of the best-known and best-documented examples of narcoterrorism. The term has become a subject of controversy, largely due to its use in discussing violent opposition to the U.S. government's war on drugs. The term is being increasingly used for known terrorist organizations that engage in drug trafficking activity to fund their operations and gain recruits and expertise. Such organizations include FARC, ELN, AUC in Colombia, PCPSL in Peru, Hamas and Taliban in 2000. The U.S. began funding, continued under the U.S. Bush administration, of Plan Colombia, intending to eradicate drug crops and to act against drug lords accused of engaging in narcoterrorism, including among them the leaders of the Marxist FARC and the AUC paramilitary forces. The U.S. government is funding large-scale drug eradication campaigns and supporting Colombian military operations, seeking the extradition of commanders. Although Al-Qaeda is often said to finance its activities through drug trafficking, the 9/11 Commission report notes that, while the drug trade was a source of income for the Taliban, it did not serve the same purpose for Al-Qaeda, and there is no reliable evidence that bin Laden was involved in or made his money through drug trafficking. The organization gains most of its finances through donations, particularly those by wealthy Saudi individuals. Critics of the prohibition of drugs say that it is this prohibition itself which funds terrorism. Examples: areas or countries that have active or historical narcoterrorism or narco-war include Afghanistan, to fund operations with sales of opium and heroin in the Afghanistan War; Colombia and Peru, which have influential right-wing paramilitary, narco-terrorists, and left-wing revolutionary guerrillas; Pakistan, especially in Waziristan and adjacent regions, related to the war to the west and tribal problems. Farmers farm opium,